While indie lawmakers say no to school lunches for students, but they then increase the amount of money they get to spend on lunches, which is crazy. And Republicans want to claim they care about kids. Well, shouldn't you care about kids being able to eat?
Controversy at the legislature, where lawmakers are under fire for some recent spending decisions.
Joel Crane joins us from the state capitol with more. Joel?
Yeah, Monica and Alan, lawmakers voted to boost their own meal reimbursements just days after voting against expanding the school free lunch program in North Dakota. School lunches, a point of contention at the legislature.
I see a lot more benefits on our children's lunch than politician lunch.
Last month, the Senate voted against House Bill 1491, which would have covered meals for students whose families are below 200% of the poverty line.
Wow. So kids whose families are 200% below the poverty line shouldn't be able to qualify for food. These people are probably going hungry quite often.
Yesterday, they voted for Senate Bill 2124, which increases in-state meal reimbursements for state employees, including lawmakers during interim legislative meetings.
And these people are spending hundreds of dollars on meals when that's the same price for the meals that they will eat every day could, give hundreds of students, a meal to eat for the day. But these people are greedy, and these meals that they're eating is paid for by the taxpayers. They're not paying for it themselves.
From $35 per day to $45 per day.
That's kind of messed up. Low-income kids need to eat. Legislators, guys, they could take a little cut and pay and add it to the lunch menu.
A handful of lawmakers voted against school meals and for the meal reimbursements for state employees, including Senate Majority Leader Senator David Hogue.
We're trying to keep up with what we understand is explosive inflation in meals and hotels, and so we just only think it's reasonable to keep up with inflation.
So it's okay for you to increase the amount of money you get to keep up with inflation, but it's not good for kids to be able to get free food, even though inflation is rising. How are the parents are going to keep up? Giving the kids free meals will help the parents deal with inflation. But obviously you don't care because you're a right-winger, and all you know is, hey, I can give myself more money, and that's all I want.
Senator Hogue says he sees these as two fundamentally different issues. Others suggest it's not that lawmakers should say no to one and yes to the other, but rather vote consistently.
It's symbolic, and are we consistent in our thinking about money?
No, Republicans have never been consistent about money. When it's something for poor people, they're always against it, but when it's something for the rich people, they're for it, because Republicans believe that rich people deserve more and more and more because they're rich or they have a position of power, while they believe poor people are undeserving because being poor is their choice and they should choose not to be poor. It's a messed up way of thinking. We should be prioritizing schools over politicians.
As for school lunches, the proposal might still have a shelf life. Last week, the program was written into a separate school spending bill, Senate Bill 2284.
The realities of it are, for many families and for many children, the school breakfast and lunch programs they get are often the only food they get in the day.
Yeah, like getting free breakfast and lunch was the only way I was able to eat at school. Other than that, I would have, spent the entire 8 hours going hungry, and that doesn't make for, a productive student. If you really want these students to do good in school, you would also be in favor of them getting free lunches and free breakfast, because when you're full of energy from, eating some at least decent food, you can focus more on your schoolwork and, being a kid.
As for the meal reimbursements, Senator Hogue says it was sorely needed.
My focus is on passing sound budgets, and I think we're doing that. And where we see a need to increase funding, we do it.
Yeah. Wow. So he sees the need to increase budget so that he can eat more while he's at work, but he doesn't see a need to increase funding for kids who need to work at school. So he's just saying, fuck you kids, I don't care if you starve. And again, Republicans claim they care about kids, but yet they don't want to see kids being able to eat food. That's messed up. Like, who wouldn't be happy seeing kids being able to eat and not go hungry on a daily basis?
Senator Hogue says, depending on the committee recommendation, he's open to changing his vote on school meals if he gets another chance to vote on the issue. Now, something that's important to remember about this issue is that these meal reimbursements don't apply to lawmakers while they're in the legislative session, and they really apply to state employees. So, yes, they do apply to lawmakers, but they probably only use the meal reimbursements 4 or 5 days a year, if so, for most of them. That's when they're traveling in the state.
They probably use it more often than that. Why else would they want to, why else were they so quick to, pass such a bill?
Live at the Capitol, I'm Joel Crane reporting for your news leader.